Welcome, everybody. This that you've just joined is the Devil's Causeway. It's a new one for me. It's a place I'd never heard of, and it's amazing. This is an old coach track that they used to have that was the centerpiece of a major road system. It looks like it goes into nowhere and comes out of nowhere. And yet, this is a place. It ran right away along here, past an amazing old Moor House that we're going to be investigating, a place that is said to be very haunted. This, a coach track taking people to Morpeth, to Alnwick, up to Scotland. This was, in its time, the equivalent of the coach A1. Hard to believe. Amazing. And this is considered one of the most murderous and evil places in Northumberland. And the stories are incredible. In fact, if you have a look around here, there's hiding places for every kind of rogue and vagabond. In fact, there's a rhyme about such things. Let me share it with you. Amazing down here. Travelling across the deadly Rimside moor. That's where we are, said he, falling down a hillside. The ground is very unsteady under your feet. They wrote this: "Oh, tormented am I to risk my life and all my kin on a journey so dark and dour, to face the perils and danger extreme, crossing the blood-stained Rimside moor." On the crossroads of this old coaching road into Morpeth, they built the old Moor House, a coaching inn, thought to be a place of safety in a hellish land, infested by highwaymen who committed outrages on travellers, theft, rape, kidnap, any way to get some money. The necromancer will not switch off, which is just an oddity in itself. Stop. Hopefully, that's the end of it. This was also not just a coach house for all of the busy coaches that came around here. The coach house also was a centre place where drovers who brought their sheep off the hills, brought all of their sheep down from Scotland, their cattle from Scotland. They used, I know it's hard to believe because there's nothing here, but they used this land, probably because there's nothing here, because they could park their cattle, 500 head or 1,000 sheep or whatever. You could park them on the hills and people would do deals. And they would call the old Moor House, I'm taking you along there now, they would call the old Moor House a halfway house. Some people said because when you get your animals here, you're halfway home. Because you brought your animals here, you sell them, then you can go home. However, they also said because there were so many murders done up here that you are halfway to hell. So let's head, look at all of these nooks and crannies. This is witch country too. We've got 1,000 stories of witches around here, and we can prove that over 240 died up here. I'm joined, of course, by Kenny.
Hello again.
Who is back with us. Look at that red sky in the distance. Absolutely. it's such a privilege to be out here in places like this. Behind the camera, we have Tony Hollywood McShane, award-winning producer, camera person, and an all-round good egg. So, let's start our trip. We have the Howling Woods. So many people died in this vicinity that they call it the Howling Woods. You would think people, witches, travelling out of here to try and get away from the towns and the cities so they could be left alone to carry out their practices. But once a coaching house was built here, right in the middle of where they lived. And I also want to tell you an even stranger story. And if you look up there, you will see a tree that's been tipped over and yet continued to grow. And this was supposed to be done by the Duver. And they were dwarfs. Diver apparently is a Norse word meaning dwarf. And a small race of people lived here. This is way back. We're talking possibly 1,000 years, 2,000, 3,000 years on this site. And they were naturally small people. I don't know whether they were real dwarfs or whether they were just small people, so they were given that name. Not even sure how politically correct it would be, but that's what the word translates into, so there's no getting around it. But they lived here, and they were persecuted by the people of Northumberland, so they started to live underground. And the only way they could get underground was to tip the trees over. So they would dig a hole under a tree and hope that the tree would stay up. But quite often, when they dug down, if the roots weren't solid, that's what happened. An entire tree would tip over, and yet, miraculously, it's still growing. You can see that the tree is still completely alive. What shallow roots they've got still feeding all of that. Or maybe, is it only doing that because it's a witchy wood and the witches are protecting them? Whoa. We must get something today. Here. Can you light this up? A tangle. You could imagine if you were a small person and you are trying to escape being persecuted. You've got hiding places galore, haven't you, in places like that? So watch out. I don't know whether it's true or whether it's not. When I first heard the story, I thought it's the kind of thing, you know, I don't know about you, but when you were little, did your mum ever say, if you go up there, the bogeyman will get you? I thought it might be one of those stories where you said, don't go up into those woods, otherwise the Duver will get you. Or the Daigu. I've heard different versions of their name, but it comes from the Norse word. And it's just amazing. I think what we should maybe do is start at the Moor House, because we're going to go into the Moor House when it gets darker. And we've got a few other things to show you too. Outstanding things. But make sure that you share this, please. Share. And if you do, you stand a chance. Look at that sky. You stand a chance to win our legendary Night Owl badges. We would love you to do that. So share as much as you can. Spread the word. And I'm just mentioning to the guys before, you've got to really watch. They've got some nettles here that go right through your trousers and sting you. And you made the point that how did the Scots in their kilts exist with those kind of nettles? And who knows? No, their sting is all right. But that tall one that you saw before was a perfect example of it. Watch your step as well, because the sheep have been gracious with their offerings. And it's along here. There it is. This is the old Moor House. Now this, for a little while, was called the Swinburne Arms. Yes, it. Yeah, there's flashing lights in the distance. And it's along here. Now, this is the old Moor House. It was an old coaching house. if you were in a coach, your coach would come up, you'd been on the road for a long time, you would pull in here. As you can see, at one time, there was a proper cobble road here. You would come in, park your coach up, someone would come and get your bag or your trunk and take it into the main building, and you could get your overnight stay and refresh yourself and have the equivalent of a beef eater. Ideally not a beef eater if you can avoid it. But anyway, but the equivalent of, and this was said at the time to be a safe house in the middle of hellish land, because they knew murder was all around here. And yet the people that owned this were very, very clever. From the coach people, they had the upstairs rooms they also used as a bawdy house, a house of ill repute, a brothel. So they would take money. They also had the woman behind the bar, the landlady, who was watching for people that had money so they could rob them while they slept, or tip off a highwayman to rob them as soon as they hit the road, or tip off a murderer or even rapists to rape attractive women. This was not a nice place. And so many murders were carried out here, they dumped them in a pit next to where there's a kind of handmade bridge. They would bury them in the witchy wood and blame any deaths on witches. These are those things I was telling you about. They're like Scottish thistles in there. There's a lot of them about, but they go straight through jean material or whatever you're wearing. You think you're safe enough until you start having to pluck the spines out. Oh, that's sheep, I think. I think it's sheep. It's eerie and it's getting darker all the time. I know it seems light at the moment. It'll be jet black. If you look left to where the sun is traveling across to the United States of America, that is just, what a vista that is. Look at that sky. Absolutely incredible. You got to be careful on these stones too. You're going to just imagine, because if we're actually up here, we're probably in one of the upstairs bedrooms, you know, where richer people would have been. Yeah. It would be up here. And I know that the farmer who works the land here has made a little paddock here. I know we can still get in, the gates are open. We'll have a look around, but this is the old Moor House. And again, incredible stories of murder and daring do in this neck of the woods. This is a place infested, they said, with highwaymen, infested with it. A meeting place for smugglers of illicit spirits and highwaymen picking their targets. The building had such an evil reputation, some people murdered were just buried on the moors, so no one would know about how common death was here. And the killers of those people stayed free. There was one famous lady called Mrs. Waddle. And she was an innkeeper's wife. She was known as like a mother to some people. If we can, let's try that. She was known as like a mother to some people, but tipping off the criminals about everybody that came here. You got to be just careful. Let's just let's head into it. Let's go around to the main door if we can. I think as soon as we get in, we'll put the necromancer on her, see if the spirit radar is working. Maybe we're going to set a few traps round and about here too. Not just here, but also in the witchy wood. But I think there's so much wickedness occurred here, this would be a good place to put traps. Sue came on, one of our supporters, and we listened very much to what the supporters say. Sue wanted us to place more trigger objects, so let's do that. Kenny? Yep. The witches had things like poppets, which essentially were soft dolls. And we have brought a puppet, and we're going to place the puppet on here. Now, it's an offering. There's no way that that can go anywhere from there. Now, the reason that... Hang on, let's... Yeah, there you go.
I can't see her face with the torch too bright.
Can you? Sorry, there she is.
There you go.
She's going to be there. We're going to find another flat space to put the toy car to see if it can actually move in any direction. Let's get in here, because again, this would have been the main entrance hall area, I'm guessing. Oh, here we go. There's a flat stone. Let's... What kind of car is it, Kenny?
No idea. It's a little toy.
It's a little toy car. So, right, that'll go downhill from there. So, let's put it sideways. That's where the car's going to be. We'll see if it's going to move at any point at all. And right here, I've brought... Had to rob me bathroom for this. Can you hold on to just that? That's good. How does this work? There you go. Right, that's how it looks. See if anything stands in it, anything steps in it. And we also have our final triggering. Let's put this across the other side. These are just coins. They're not mine, so if they disappear, it's good. Because they're Hollywood McShane's bounty. And we can put them, oh, that's a good place. Right there. In a pile. And how many are there?
25 pence, I counted.
25 pence and 5p's. So that's going to be there. We're going to leave it and see if anything happens. The whole, if you can see though, big flying thing there. What I want it to be, I want it to be completely square. Is that completely square? Yeah? Right. So if it's anything other than that, we've got it. So let's go back around the objects, Tony, and make sure everybody knows where they are. Because this place is seriously haunted. Mrs. Wardle, one was called Wardle, one of the more recent landladies here. Mrs. Waddle was the other one. And the place has been left seriously haunted. The spirits are unhappy, particularly that the building has gone. And it has. There's nothing left of it. And they say that they've taken it out on the visitors, and they sometimes want to latch on to anybody that comes here. And Tony, if I were you, I'd take a walk around the inside of the building. And I'm going to put the necromancer on, so see if we can get anything in the meantime. This is supposed to be a darker place. Let's see. Bells. You hear this? Go. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone here? Speak to us. Have you been in the room at the end, Tony?
No, that's...
No, you can get in through that gate.
Oh, this gate. What's this one?
Yeah. There's something not wanting us to proceed.
Right there. Something over there.
Did you hear something?
I heard a clank.
Do you want Tony to go in there? Do you want him in there? Yeah. Are they beehives? It's still getting that okay. Some kind of metal coffin-esque. Watch yourself on these nettle things as well. Yeah. Careful when you come out, Tony, too.
Yeah, it's clear this way.
In every direction, there's history of one sort or another. There's stories of a bridge nearby. We're heading to that bridge now where a young girl was killed. Various stories about this young girl. We'll tell you the story when we get near to it because it's on this path. It's an amazing. It's almost, you could miss the bridge if you didn't know it was there. I think yes. Yeah, let's do that. Baby's still good. Need a name for the baby as well, if anybody could suggest. The coins still look to be stacked in place. They are. Two more. The car. I can still see it parked. And is there any marks at all? No. Nothing there at all. Right.
We just laid them though, so it's early.
It's absolutely, we want to come back when it's dark. So anything that's here, show us anything. Do anything for us.
It does look like it's further off the edge.
It does look like it's come off the edge a bit, mate.
Well, I've not touched it. Have you touched it?
No, but it looks like it has.
Well, they're just creepy dolls in general, aren't they? Let's head forward. Can we light them up?
Yeah.
Can. Well, it's getting dark enough for people to... So many stories. The authorities left the place alone. But when the rich and famous came through here on their coaches, they would carry out hangings of any robbers or rogues that they had caught. And they caught a load. Highwaymen were really commonplace out here. Henry VIII created the Witchcraft Act in 1542, and his daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, came up. Oh, do you hear that?
There's noise up there.
Getting noises down here too. There's sheep down there, I can hear, but it's not a sheep noise.
Is there a road up there?
No.
I've just seen red lights up there, mate.
What?
definitely red lights up there.
That's complete countryside.
Honestly, 2 red lights. As if it was the back light of the car.
What?
Just up there, honestly. It must be a road up there.
There's no road up there, honestly, Ken.
I've just seen 2.
You're right on the top of the moors.
I've just seen 2 red lights. As if it was like the back end of the car.
Because this is the Howling Woods. This is the place where the witches used to live. Not that I can see, but can you imagine if you were a witch and you were living in a place like this, and this has been your home because there was a well, it had water, there was a small freshwater stream. Could you imagine?
God.
Did you hear that?
I don't know what that.
That was
It
a
like
man's
It was
voice.
just a voice.
Did you hear that?
Just here.
It's a man's voice, clear as day.
It sound like what it was right next to her.
Yeah. Like what if who? I hope people at home heard that.
Honestly and truly, I've seen 2 red lights at the top of there.
Oh God.
That was
Got
a
a chill
clear,
down my spine there.
clear voice. And that was
Yeah.
not a sheep or anything.
That was just here.
We're going to get something
This is
tonight.
the
There's no
entrance.
question about
We're
it.
just leaving.
Elizabeth I came up with a treaty of what people should have to do if they caught a witch. And as I say, these were the woods where there was an entire colony of witches here, the Northumberland witches, and they lived in this wood, the Howling Wood. I can't believe how clear that man's
That was
voice
really
was.
clear. And next to you. It was whispering to you.
That was just like he was coming out of the old Moor House. But Queen Elizabeth decided that if you caught a witch for the first time, you would put her in a pillory and people would chuck stuff at her. And they built a pillory here, and we'll be showing you that pillory a little bit later on. And if they caught someone a second time for witchcraft, she'd be hanged by the neck until she was dead. And oh, damn. I think I'm the first person to stand in a wet one as well, which is...
This hand, you know, when your hair's go and you go, ooh, look at that.
Too bright the torch, I can't see.
Oh,
Don't know
seriously.
whether you can make
Yeah,
that
we can
out.
make it out with this.
They
the
just
other
went right up as if I can feel it cold and just hands are freezing. Are you cold?
Yeah. It's colder now than it was at any time we've been here. We've been here a couple of hours. This is where they lived. But you can understand why you'd make something like this your home. You've got fresh water. You've got protection of the trees on the top of a... Can you imagine how windy this is if you haven't got the cover of the Howling Woods? Amazing. We've got so many stories to tell you, but where's the bridge? Have we reached the bridge yet?
No,
It's still along.
further down.
Right, let's keep going. Now, we're going into the Howling Woods because there's so many stories in there. There's a whole heap of tales. But highwaymen on this track, and as you can see, this is you can see how even now, underneath the soil, you can see where the old stone track was laid. And it was laid for hundreds of miles. You imagine how much work, I mean, talk about the Roman wall, how much work it would have took just to do that. There were highwaymen up and down here all the time. And I know people have this romantic idea about highwaymen, but they weren't. They were...
We're just about to step onto the bridge.
We are. This is the bridge, isn't it? Which side of the bridge do you want to go down to show everybody?
I think,
This end.
yeah, I think there's only one way that we're...
Right,
we
okay,
know,
we've seen.
otherwise you might
seen
end
that.
up in the stream.
Those nettles that go through your trousers, there has never been a finer example of it than this thing here. You just got to be really careful with them there. They are spiky and horrible. Wow, look at that tree. You can understand why the witches would choose a place like this. A place of safety, away from all the towns and all the gossiping about what they did and who they were. They could get some peace, and whether or not they were, and I know people say there's black witches and white witches. These were people that just didn't want to live in massive communities. They wanted to be away from it all, and they found a place and they made it their own. This is the witch's dell. They used this as a witch's altar back in the day. They actually carved it from a living tree, but this is all that's left. Used to be a witch's altar where they could carry out spells. The Christians used to say, oh, this is where they carried out their dark rituals. In reality, these women were herbalists. They were just ordinary people that just wanted to live free from the constraints. And they would come here and they'd carry out their ceremonies. Can't believe that voice still.
No.
And that was just like 10 minutes in the show. You can imagine people doing, you can imagine women still coming down here and carrying out their ceremonies. It's as quiet as death.
So quiet.
It's as quiet as death. Now, this is the bridge. A young girl, nothing to do with witches, this, I hasten to add, but a young girl was playing around here. Her parents were staying at the coach house, the old Moor House, where we've just been. And the little girl came down here and she was, back then, the stream was a lot bigger and a lot wilder than it is today. Oh, blimey, I'm going in the long grass. And, wow, careful, it's very spongy and might be wet underneath there. Oh. There was more of a river going on back then. Light up this top end, Ken, and we'll work our way down it. She was up here playing, and a man came and tried to have his way with her. She was just a bairn. And you've got to picture this as a fast flowing stream. It's not so much now. It's pretty dry really, and it hasn't rained particularly in recent days. But this was a fast flowing stream back in the day, and she was throwing stones and watching the frogs swimming and the fish. And this guy grabbed her, tried to have his way with her, and ended up strangling her to death. And he was arrested, and he was hanged at a gibbet that was called the border gibbet, and there is still a gibbet here. We'll show you that. But they say that quite regularly you see dark shapes moving through the passage beneath the bridge. Some animals won't cross the bridge. They bark and they go crazy. And some people who are particularly sensitive have panic attacks down in this area. Come down a bit further, Ken, and light it up with that super torch, if you will. Go for it. Can we see any dark shapes this time? Is there anything?
It's really quiet, isn't it?
It's never been this quiet since we got here. Careful.
I thought there was something there. I must admit.
Where?
Up in that tree.
Where? Whereabouts?
Under the bridge. It looked like something at the side of it.
Right.
It might have just been a torch in the
Yeah,
frame.
it's possible.
Just look.
Just this place is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And we've barely touched on it yet. We're going to show you the dell. We're going to show you the place where the buried witches are supposed to be, because there's two pits here, two death pits. One of witches and one where 9 highwaymen were hanged. One of them was a woman. And they used to plague this part of the world. Did you hear that?
Was that a sheep?
What, howling?
Nah, that was like a...
I heard a scream.
There was a howl? Oh!
There again. I did have that time.
Listen carefully at home, and don't forget, if you see anything, tell us about it.
Screenshot it.
Say again?
Screenshot it.
Yes, absolutely.
Send it to
Screenshot it. And make sure, please, if you can go back and try and catch that voice. What? Something's just fallen from it. One of the trees. And you say, well, it could be a leaf. It wasn't a leaf. That was something solid. Do you hear that? The Howling Woods. That's why they call this the Howling Woods. What the hell? I can hear sheep, but it's not a sheep. Everything's twisted.
I keep hearing footsteps. As if they're alongside of us.
On grass.
Yeah. Can anybody else hear that? We're standing still. Just stand still and see if you can.
We're standing completely still. Come on.
Yeah.
I heard something there.
Like crack on it.
Because just stay still, see if we can hear it again. As soon as we ask it to do something, it doesn't do it.
Oh,
did you hear that?
I heard that.
Where did it come from? Back there.
That was behind me.
Is it? It can't be big stuff falling from trees, surely you would. That footstep thing, when we were still, I did hear to a like twigs kind of. Ow! Be careful, Tony. I think we're going to have to walk along and find a way across there. I don't think we can go down.
There's a bridge, but we're on the wrong side of this.
Yeah,
You know that little.
But there's a bridge,
plank.
isn't there?
Yeah, but on the other side of this here.
We'll find a way. Look, you can see where, because the witches used to live near that big tree that we discovered. Is that it over there? It's got to be a track. There it is. Just switch your torches off. How well can you pick up the colour?
Oh, it's coming through really nicely on here.
Is it? That is just
Skyline.
Look at that sky. Amazing. Just amazing. And we haven't scratched the surface yet. We've had howling in the Howling Woods. How great is that? For sure. Oh, there is a red light there, Kenny. No, I've just seen it. It's gone. What was over there?
Yeah, that went really quickly.
There is a red light.
There was a red light there. I knew there was.
But how's it gone off? If it's like a marker for planes or you know, if it's like a beacon or a...
There's definitely a red light there.
I saw a red light. Yeah, open that.
Look that way.
Yeah. Kenny, I did see it. Did you hear that?
I heard that as well. I keep hearing little noises all the time.
If anybody at home heard that, please tell us. And make sure you share for one of our night owl badges. Share this with everybody you know. Tony, how do they share it so that everybody gets it?
Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, you can share it and just screenshot it and email it to nightowls@mail.com. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, you can still share it and let us know via email. nightowls@mail.com.
Thanks, guys.
Same with any screenshots as well and videos. If you pick anything up, you can email them if you're not on Facebook.
We loved
to
it.
show them.
You guys caught a ghost, clear as day. We talked about it in our special supporters group on Tuesday. You sent a ghost child, and it was one of the best ghost shots ever. You were amazing. Let's have some more of them. Tony, be careful getting across here, man.
Oh,
Be careful.
It's very sticky. I must have stood in something.
After 3, switch the torch off.
Like a trapeze.
If stood in something that's sticky,
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
stood in something.
This is Abigail's tree. There was a witch called Abigail who lived in a small hut, a lean-to, where it was built around the arms of this tree. And they say that the middle piece of the tree that's directly behind you, Tony, is where she used to sit. So she had, if you can imagine,
And we're back.
sorry about that, we're just talking about Abigail. If you can imagine from the boughs here that I'm pointing out with a torch, if you can imagine cloth hung over it like a tent. She had cloth hanging over most of these boughs to create like a mixture of rooms. And then she would sit on her throne in the middle, right there. It was her nest. And she said from there she could watch the coaches going by with all of the rich people. And eventually the rich people became offended by her and had her hanged by the neck and buried unceremoniously with a group of other witches somewhere on this ground. And Kenny was saying a bit earlier, if you wanted to dump a body where it would never be found, it's places like this, isn't it, Ken?
Definitely places like this, because who would ever come walking up here and find anything?
Well, I know people like walk their dogs and stuff, but if you walked onto a moor and you buried anything 5 or 6 feet under, you'd never see them again. But you can almost picture a witch sitting in the middle of that tree in her glory. But you got to remember at the same time, all of these long branches with tents, you know, with cloth hanging down. And on top of the cloth, she'd put branches and leaves to protect it. And what a place to live. Beautiful.
Natural, isn't it?
And you can even see how she would get up. You know, you'd simply, you know, there's footholds all the way up. And then she'd sit there and watch all the... Oh, jeepers. What's that? Yeah, just saw something at the corner of my eye. Some darkness. Move, look. Oh, Tony, can you see it? I don't want to move. Kenny, don't move your torch. Right. Tony, move to your left. Dark shadow. Can you see it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Can you see it? Blackness moving.
I'll keep your torch here.
Keep it there, because right in the middle, there's something moving in the blackness. I'm glad you can see it, Ken.
It's moving there.
Sometimes the sheep sound a bit humanish as well, I mean, don't they?
They do,
But what was that howling?
That howling was different.
This is the most witchy place I think I've ever been.
What about the necromancer in here?
No, absolutely, 100%.
Especially near a tree.
In fact,
Because I think that's what she might have been letting me know she was there when it switched off. When we lost when we lost the signal. As soon as he mentioned her name.
when you, and I'm a great believer, I'm a tree hugger by nature, and I always think that when you, what was that? There was something behind you, Tony.
I just felt something next to us.
There was something behind you. No, there's something black behind you. Still is.
Oh, yeah.
Tony, what the hell's that? That blackness we were talking about. Oh, another shadow across the...
I heard something to me right side. Wow. Whatever that was.
What did you feel?
It was like a tap, but not on me, but you like a... It's hard to
The air?
explain. The air, but like someone had just stepped next to us.
And it's degrees cooler.
It's freezing, yeah.
It's freezing now. It wasn't
I mean,
before.
it's not just cool, it's ice cold, yeah.
It's cool. My hands are absolutely freezing.
Abigail, I'm sitting on your tree. I'm your guest at the moment. So treat me like I am a guest and speak to me. Come on, Abigail. Hi, is that you? It's Abigail I want. Are you here, Abigail? Are you here? We're sitting at your tree. Did you hear flapping then? I don't know. Hang on. Gotta stop it. I heard flapping. There was flapping, but not like bird flapping. Like,
No.
what the hell was that?
Do you know what it was like? It was like, I don't know, like the bottom of a tent. You know, like a tent would flop. That kind of thing in the wind.
Right. Did you hear it, Tony?
Not from over here.
No.
But you've got the mic on. People might have heard it.
Yeah.
If it was next to you.
Like, no, it's not there now. Come on, Abigail. We're under your tree right now. Speak to me. Speak to me. They killed you here, Abigail. Where did they bury you? Was it near your tree? No. Did they bury you? Did they bury you on the moor? Oh,
That wasn't very nice.
that wasn't pleasant.
F you.
Yeah, swearing at me. Do you not want us here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ghost radar and we'll see if we can pick anything up. Right. See what we get here. Okay. Let us begin. Got a new gadget and then what the ghost radar is said to do is it tells you if there's any spirits in the area. It senses where energy is and it reads that energy and it gives you words that it has picked up from a full Oxford English dictionary. Those words. Oh, how on presence detected. Get ready with your torch, Keddy. It's behind you, it's there.
Yeah.
We got a presence today. And her name's Emily. And she came here to receive money. She was brought here to receive money. She's confused. She's confused because whoever asked her here, promising her money, obviously hurt her.
That could have been the ill repute one, couldn't it? That brought her there and promised her money.
Yeah, it's possible, isn't it? But a lot of them just died or were killed or were raped and murdered. And the old Moor House knew about these kind of things. And instead of getting a bad reputation where nobody would stop off, they just buried them in the fields, buried them on the moor side, over here.
You do get a sense of sadness here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this was a tree that she loved, and she didn't want to move from it. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's try a second one here. I want to try another one when we get to the gibbet. We're going to the gibbet soon. Let's try one more while we're here at Abigail's tree. We already know Emily's here too. Get ready with your torch. I'll point you in the right direction. If there's anything, they're trying to find something now. Yeah. Wait for it. It's being detected. Just going to find out where it is now. Oh, we're getting a message. What's the message? Oh, there it's over there again. Exactly the same place.
Okay.
Over there by the tree. Offering friendship on hard times. I'm at rest.
Oh,
How about that?
that's good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. She's at rest. She's definitely over there. I don't know whether that was still Emily, but because it was in the same area, you would think it must be. Right, come on. I think there's so many other places. We've got to go to the pillory where the witches were pilloried, but there's something that I want everybody to see. This is amazing.
A few people have said they've seen faces in the tree.
Really?
That tree there.
I did round this side, but it might just be the light.
I thought something was stroking my cheek and I just walked into a leaf. Sorry, Kenny. Breaking your beam there, man. You can imagine somebody making their home out of something like that, mind. Just something natural. Fresh water right at the bottom, down here. Ow. Come on, Abigail.
It's worrying mad, isn't it?
I know. Oh! That was hard as. How did you. That was.
What happened there?
Well, when I touched it, I couldn't move it. But it's moving now. And it looks like it's. Was that you, Abigail? That was scary.
Seriously, look at that there. That's ready to fall, that.
Don't leave it, leave
Oh
it,
my God,
leave
look.
it, leave it, leave it.
The hell?
But when I touched that, I couldn't move it at all. You can move it now.
That's ready to fall, that, mate.
Well, just don't touch Abigail's tree, leave it. Right, now up here, I don't know whether you can see. Step out, Tony, if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to go round it.
Wow. Don't fall. Kenny, I need you to light up the, where's the, oh, there you go. Hang on, wait for Tony. Yeah, no. Right. That was just like a gunshot.
Wasn't it? It's cracked.
Jeepers. Right, we've got so many things to show you. We haven't got time in the first hour, obviously. That's just why we love you. First of all, share. Share this, win yourself one of our lovely Night Owl badges for you to be proud to wear.
We'll announce it on Sunday, the winner.
The winner will be announced on Sunday. But come over here, Tony. Can you see in the distance? Can he light it up? You see that?
It's a dot on the screen.
It's a dot. That's a pillory where they used to place witches, and they even put their dead bodies in there. But we're going to use the necromancer next here, because this is where the death pit of the highwaymen were. 9 highwaymen were hanged, one after another. As soon as they were dead, their bodies, whether they were still alive or not, were put in a huge pit. You got to watch the ground here, because it really is. And to be honest, it makes you, it wears you out, because, oh, it wears you out. This is the gibbet. And did you hear that?
I heard a voice there. Just here. Just here.
It was like back. Did you hear that?
Just here.
But I'm just heading towards the... Oh, yeah. This is a newly built gibbet, very close to where the original border gibbet was. And if you look for a rise, it says a rise to the west, which is in that direction. If you come around the front, Tony, you might be able to see the highwayman's smile. Yeah, there he is. Do you need us to light him up?
Maybe a bit too much light on there. Yeah, you can see him like that.
He's moving. It said if you look to the land, you'll see a mound to the west. That's a mound as far as I'm concerned. Do you see it? Would you say that's the mound?
Yeah.
Where the bodies of 8 men, 8 highwaymen.
It's like the killing fields, isn't it?
But you don't know where there's a body. There's also just down, well, there's where the dwarfs have been tipping over trees again. We've got to watch for the dwarfs. If they really lived here, we might be seeing some of them tonight too. It's fascinating. Now, I've got an incredible story about a highwayman. I'm going to tell that in a second. And to be able to do it right next to where people were actually hanged, and witches hanged here too. We've got an amazing story about how the Duke of Northumberland was shot at, and one of his people, one of his women that worked for him, raped here. We have the story of Billy Fuchs. We have the story of Raymond Gibbs, famous highwaymen who lost their lives here and hereabout. But we're coming to the end of our first hour. And what a first hour it's been. Oh,
that is a sheep, isn't it?
You see its eyes. Do you remember that film where the sheep went crazy and ate everybody?
Oh, God.
Because the eyes are electric, aren't they?
Could happen tonight.
But we've had howls and all kinds of. We're just getting started. We're going to go and check on our traps too. We have so many. We're going to go to the pillory too. I'm going to have a listen. We're going to use all of our gadgetry here too. We would love you to stay with us. How do they do that, Tony?
If you're on Facebook and you're not a supporter, you can just become a supporter. Just hit become a supporter on the top of the page, or I think it's going to be put in chat as well. And then in 5 minutes' time, the live stream will start again. If you're on YouTube, it'll be on tonight, probably after a few hours after this finishes, definitely in the morning. So, you know, you'll have it. You'll have everything that Facebook have, but just a little bit later.
And we've also recorded a few extra bits earlier on that we're going to be putting out over the next
coming out.
Night vision as well. We haven't even touched night vision yet. We want to do the old Moor House. We'll be doing around here, and we'll certainly be doing this. Kenny, just what is that?
Is it a bat? Yeah.
Look, can you see it? Kenny, you got a great eye. Keep on it.
I can see it on the screen.
You can see it.
Yeah.
It's a bat.
It came from here.
It's a night owl.
You think it's a night owl? I'd love to think so. But that's where we've got to concentrate tonight. This, Kenny, light it up. Turn it around. That's what we've got to concentrate on tonight. We're going to get stuff in there. No question. Come and join us. We're talking about Trail of Tears. The Devil's Parade. We've walked up the Howling Woods. We're going into again the pillory, the gibbet, the traps. Come with us on the other side. We're waiting for you. In 5 minutes, we'll be dancing again.
What the hell is that again? Look. Look at my light.
Can you see him in his light? He's got his mist back again. Where did that come from?
Look at my light.
Can you see it? Can you see it on screen, Tony?
Not really.
Oh,
That mist has followed you again.
again.
That's ridiculous.
That just came like from nowhere.
You can't see there's dust around here.
No. That was weird.